This is Valley News Live at noon.
We start with a developing story out of Minneapolis, where city leaders just gave us an update on the start of the trial for former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, accused in the death of George Floyd. Opening statements are set to start on Monday. Now, the Minneapolis mayor and police chief encouraged people to check out the city's website to find updates on the trial, safety resources, street closures, and other things related to the trial that may impact the general public. They also encourage people to join a neighborhood organization. The city has formal relationships with these neighborhood organizations and says it could be helpful to communicate with your neighbors about potential safety issues or business impacts. Now, we also have an update to a story we brought to you yesterday at noon that a suspect in a South Fargo stabbing is now in custody. Fargo police say Bajabo Duncan of West Fargo turned himself in to police late last night. He was arrested for attempted murder in connection with an assault at Love's Travel Stop off of 32nd Avenue. Duncan is suspected of stabbing someone, then running him over with his car. Fargo police are still looking for a man who drove through several garages yesterday. It happened around 4:30 in the 1000 block of 9th Avenue South. The vehicle police are looking for is on your screen now. It's a purple or blue van, possibly with an American flag on the front and tribal plates. The driver is described as being an older, thin black male who was seen driving recklessly through an alley with a woman hanging from the vehicle. After that, police say he drove through a bank of garages along 10th Street South and continued speeding down 13th Avenue. If you have any information, call 701-235-4493 or text your tip to Fargo PD at 847-411. The Polk County Sheriff is crediting neighbors with helping keep a grass fire from burning homes in Goley, Minnesota. The fire was moving towards city limits yesterday when a bunch of people rallied and helped save each other's property as fire crews were en route. Gonvick and Clearbrook firefighters and the Minnesota DNR put out that grass fire. There's no damage estimate yet, but a small shed and trailer were destroyed. We have those sunny skies today, but could we expect any kind of rain? Let's check in with meteorologist Lisa Green.
Good afternoon. Well, we could certainly use the rain, and we do have some in the forecast, but today looks pretty quiet. We'll have that beautiful sunshine, the blue sky continue, and temperatures are moving up as a result of that. This morning, some of us were down into the teens. It was chilly. Now we're warming things up. We're back in the 40s to even some low 50s already. It's 52 in Jamestown. Fargo's at 49, and it's 46 degrees currently in Grand Forks. A little cooler to the east, where we're still under the influence of that high pressure system. So here's a look at your radar and satellite map. You can see it's pretty quiet here in the valley. There are some areas of snow and rain showing up in north central parts of North Dakota. That will gradually make its way toward us as we head into the later afternoon and evening in the Devil's Lake Basin, and then for the rest of us heading into tonight. Here's a look at our planner though for the rest of the day here today. Expect to see temperatures warming more back into some mid 50s in parts of eastern North Dakota, and over into Minnesota more into the 40s to about 50 degrees for your high today. So not bad, and we'll warm up even more, and we bring about some rain chances too coming up in your 7-day planner.
It looks like we're spending the day with a warm-up, and we'll have to catch in with you later on today to find out what's happening the rest of the day and the rest of the week. Thanks, Lisa. Well, the man accused of killing 10 people at a grocery store in Boulder, Colorado, appeared in front of a judge this morning. Ahmad Alyssa allegedly shot a police officer, 3 employees, and 6 customers at a supermarket on Monday. His defense lawyer asked for a health assessment to address his mental illness, but provided no details about what he might suffer from. He did not enter a plea, and he is being held without bail. A new look inside a government facility at the southern border, housing nearly 800 unaccompanied minors. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez was the only reporter allowed inside. He says the children he saw seemed to be treated well and were in good spirits, but the backlog at the border is growing.
It's a first-hand look at the scramble to find space for unaccompanied migrant children at the southern border. Here at this facility in Carrizo Springs, Texas, 766 teen boys are waiting in an immigration system being pushed to its limits.
But we came like at the very beginning, and then
after mounting pressure on the Biden administration, our camera was allowed in. We saw the intake center where children are given a duffel bag of clothes and a medical screening, including a COVID test. 108 of them, or 14%, have tested positive. Here are their bunk beds, 4 assigned to each room. We also saw a dining hall, classrooms, and an outdoor recreation area where they played soccer under the bright Texas sun.
The buses with migrant teenagers head down this long, dusty dirt road and turn into the facility right there. The teenagers don't know how long they'll be inside.
Once an unaccompanied child is picked up at the border, they're sent to a facility run by Customs and Border Protection. Processing there is only supposed to take up to 72 hours, but for some children, it's taking much longer. Right now, nearly 5,000 unaccompanied migrant children are in CBP custody. After that, the children are taken to facilities like the one we saw, run by the Department of Health and Human Services, until they're placed with a relative or sponsor in the U.S. More than 11,000 are now in HHS custody.
Conditions are clearly better, but it's never right to have 766 kids in any place together.
Unlike President Trump, President Biden has allowed unaccompanied migrant children to stay in the U.S.
Was this facility opened as quickly as possible?
Yeah. When we came in, the previous administration had not put in place certain protocols for COVID and also planned for bed space.
Now, Vice President Harris is being tasked with leading diplomatic efforts in Central American countries to try and stem the flow.
So this new surge we're dealing with now started with the last administration, but it's our responsibility to deal with it humanely.
Gabe says what struck him most was the monumental task of getting the kids to the next phase, vetting family members in the U.S., if the kids even know anyone at all, and trying to get them to find some sense of normalcy. Gabe also reiterating the overcrowded pictures he saw earlier in the week, those were not from the facility he went in. North Dakota Senate is changing the recreational marijuana bill, which would prolong the path to legalization. The amendment does not affect this overall structure of the program, but it does mean the bill would have to go back to the House. More lawmakers are coming out in support, not because they want legalization, but to be able to establish regulations for the growing industry. The Senate could vote on it as soon as today. A 92-year-old Minnesota woman used her life alert necklace to save herself from a home intruder. She discovered Jordan Olson in her home on Saturday and told him to leave, but he ended up throwing her to the ground. She activated Life Alert and Olson was scared off when the dispatcher started talking through an intercom. He was arrested in the nearby woods and is facing charges of burglary and assault. Well, big news for fans of RibFest. The event is back on this year for you to enjoy delicious food and live entertainment. Now, because of COVID-19, there are some changes for vendors and attendees. The event layout will be more spaced out, and they are creating larger, relocated entrances and exits. Happy Harry says to watch their website and Facebook page for more announcements in the coming weeks about which acts will be taking the stage. RibFest runs from June 9th to 12th from 11 in the morning until 11 at night each day. Well, coming up at noon, we have warm that. Story coming next, but it's beginning to heat up, but we could see some drizzle in the forecast. Weather next with meteorologist Lisa Green.